Я был немножко удивлен и рад тому, что меня выбрали представлять свой регион. Я знал, что у меня есть какое-то количество фан-базы, которая будет за меня голосовать. Но я не ожидал, что я смогу выйти с таким большим отрывом, не занимаясь медийностью, такой как стримы и прочее.
Я очень рад, что за меня проголосовали, и я смог поехать в Австралию. Всегда мечтал посетить эту страну, ведь родина, в первую очередь, кенгуру. Сейчас мы выступаем на международной арене, поэтому это довольно-таки все-таки большое давление, но также и это интересно, поскольку многие играют по-разному, новые лица, поскольку в России я уже отыграл много, соответственно, новые команды, новые игроки, новые заготовки. Это сложнее, поскольку можно не ожидать чего-то, но также намного интереснее.
Down hard random now, looking to disengage from this one, but there's the, oh my goodness, beautiful, massive ultimate to come down, but look at Smurf, massive in the backline, Lex getting the auto attacks that he wants, Wild Growth onto Macau saves his life, but Super Mega Death Rocket's gonna kill him.
Со своей командой я играю уже не первый сезон, в целом мы, можно сказать, что знаем друг друга очень хорошо, это не первый турнир, даже международный, который мы посещали, поэтому многим членам команды я могу доверять, потому что практически мы приехали старым составом, за исключением Лесника, и я думаю, мы можем очень неплохо выступить, осталось только хорошо подготовиться в связи с новым патчем.
На турнире у меня есть личная цель – выиграть всех мидеров, доказать, что я силен, и пройти с командой дальше.
Я рад принять участие в таком турнире, как Allstars в Австралии, хоть и добраться до сюда было не так просто, как оказалось, но при этом поиграть на этом турнире – это уникальный опыт, и, безусловно, я не хочу его пропускать, и я рад, что я здесь.
Мы настроены на победу и хотим показать очень хорошую игру. Надеюсь, фанатам понравится наша игра. Даже если мы будем проигрывать, мы постараемся сделать это как можно круче.
Well, it's great to see them having such a fun time. Welcome back to the National Wildcard Allstars here, live from Melbourne, Australia. My name is Julian Pastry Time Car. I'll be shopping in for shocks for the last few sections of this. Unfortunately, not nearly as pretty. However, these gentlemen, just to my right, certainly are. Spawn is still here. Quick Shot's joining us. And we've got Richard Pulse Cam joining us for the first time on the desk.
I want to add on from that video. Yeah. Kira says even if they lose, they're going to make it as spectacular as possible. They just took down Brazil earlier today. So they didn't lose, and it still was spectacular.
That's true, and that's one of two day one undefeated teams they now have to play, because Southeast Asia is their next opponent in this upcoming match.
Yeah, and they seem to have this recipe of protect the Tristana composition that they like to run with the Lulu. They added the Fiora for another threat. I just want to add that you are beautiful, by the way. But I think that if they continue to use this, I guess, Lulu Tristana, maybe throw a Jinx in there if that ever gets banned away, they do have a really good chance to continue to upset teams. I mean, they nearly took Turkey out with the same strategy.
It's true, and there's a lot going on right now with people looking pretty and stuff, but looking at CIS, I was really impressed by their playstyle. Kira looked incredibly strong. We saw him on the Lulu earlier, and we know he's strong in the control mages, the poke mages, but he just played it flawlessly. And even heading into this new patch with that Lulu, he still feels it's strong, and he showed us why it's still strong.
Yeah, and of course for Southeast Asia, and Pastry Time, I actually think you're beautiful. I think they need to reevaluate the Tahm Kench into Jax, because I think that was one of the big reasons they ended up losing earlier today. Archie on the Catfish just had absolutely no impact against Evie on that Jax, and I don't really get the theory. I don't see it working out. Moss did not have very successful roams. We didn't see any impact from SOFM. So all of these things that I assumed were going to happen didn't. And that's how Japan ended up beating them.
And Southeast Asia looked like the quintessential win lane, win game, get your jungler in there, SOFM, and really start trying to dominate teams. And Tahm Kench fits zero part of that memo.
Well, after all that, I think I'm going to get quite a few interesting tweets, but let's head over to the caster desk instead for something much more interesting as Southeast Asia take on CIS.
Thank you very much, beautiful Pastry Time. And I'm here, I'm Atlas, I'm here with beautiful Stress, and we're ready to get into this next game, of course. CIS looking to try and upset SEA, but I have a feeling SOFM is going to jump back on some solo queue jungler and wreck everyone. That's just my gut feeling.
Maybe. I mean, he's been making some beautiful plays, almost as beautiful as Pastry Time. But, I mean, you can't quite can't quite aspire to be quite that handsome. But let's get into the
Unless
game
you're
because,
Pulse, of course.
oh, well, that's a whole different ballgame.
We're not playing that ball game.
At this point, SOFM has been going off all day. CIS have been really coming back into this as well. So this is actually a pretty hype matchup. I mean, the CIS team flew under the radar, didn't have a great day one, but now they're actually making a lot of interesting plays, different kind of champions they're bringing to the table to a lot of the other teams, and it's working very well for them. And Pulse mentioned it, Kira, he was a threat. He had his Kassadin banned away from him earlier. Will that happen again in this game?
Well, we'll have to see. Rengar's already been removed, though, so SOFM not going to be on that one. Fiora banned away on the side of the GPL. Smurf, of course, playing fantastically last game on that champion.
Oh, yeah. That was really cool to see as well.
Oh,
Him just
so
go
well played.
completely ham.
And that was against a Malphite as well. Considered a decent matchup there into the Fiora, but there wasn't very much that they could do. Callista's going to be removed. Lulu taken away from Kira, so a lot of respect to this mid laner who honestly handed it to Kami there before. He really did.
He really did, but looking at this, what's still available? Elise is still going to be up. Should they look to pick it for the CIS squad in the blue side? What else is up? A lot of the AD carries still available as well.
Yeah.
Only Callista. I guess now
Mundo
Kindred
as
taken
well.
away. Mundo's up. Soraka's up. Elise is still up as well. Misfortune is up.
Lee
And
Sin's up, so SOFM can still go
Yeah.
completely ham.
Very true. We haven't seen a Misfortune be available pretty much all day. No, this is the first game that Misfortune has not been banned in.
My goodness. Will Smurf realize that? Pick it up for Lex.
I would like to see it, actually. I mean, we saw it yesterday from BRTT. I think you can really say the double up damage is insane, and
It's
the love tap
stupid,
passive
yeah.
is incredibly strong alongside that. So maybe we'll see a team fight comp come out of the CIS team. It is a bit of a departure from what they were doing with tower pushing earlier.
Yeah.
But,
They are taking their time as well, thinking about this. Only 13 seconds left on the clock in order to lock in this first pick. The GPL will then just have so many option stress. This is what's really worrying me about these bans. The fact that the target Rengar was there. Callista as well hasn't seen too many bans, but Optimus has been playing it so incredibly well. And then Fiora the target, Lulu as well. And Cogmore is going to be the
No,
first.
that was a random. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that was random. I think Smurf was kind of motioning to his headset.
Yeah, okay.
It didn't sound like he could actually, or didn't look like he could actually hear his team.
And decided, you know, before he quit out of the lobby, to troll the Oceanic team just a little bit.
I was going to say, Raiders, they're like, damn, they're onto me. They're onto me, guys.
Well, he still thinks it's strong. He tweeted about it afterwards. He says, still think the Cogmore is strong. But well, we're yet to see it.
That remains to be seen. Oh, actually, small anecdote. In that game, the first Cogmore game, I think it was, or at least the Cogmore game that I cast didn't like the Cogmore. He did have the highest damage done to champions. So I looked at it after.
Something that we just don't.
I looked at after cast and I was like, oh, okay, he had a significant amount of damage done in that game. So maybe he's onto something. But
A Cathian surprise does a lot of damage, though.
It does. It does.
Know,
but
if you hit multiple people.
At this point, we have a sound multiple.
Yeah, slight audio issue there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back into the lobby as soon as possible. Just make sure that Smurf can communicate with his team instead of just blind locking in Cogmore. I just don't think that's very fair.
No, I don't think that's fair at all. But, you know, there were so many options available for a first pick that what do you really... Now we find out what the CIS team prioritize. In previous games, it was that Tahm Kench when it was available. I believe it was the last ban.
The last ban.
Yeah, it did come out. I didn't quite write it down on my paper. I was going to say, I think it makes sense. Both games that the CIS region played, I believe it was... well, one yesterday, one today, they first picked it. So... makes sense to take that away. They've been doing a lot of the protect the X compositions. A lot of it has been Tristana with the Lulu, with the Tahm Kench. That's not going to be available in this game. Lulu and Tahm Kench are both banned away. So what will they default to is the really interesting question.
Well, Mundo. Mundo's up, and
yeah,
Mundo just looked terrifying in the hands of the LGL. So, look, I have a feeling that's sort of an obvious choice, but I don't know. Do they then try to take away the Lee Sin from SOFM, who's now finally got that one unlocked? The Misfortune, like you said, being banned all day could be one of those priority picks. There are so many different options that they can go to at this point that I'm not entirely sure. It's like they've got this plethora and they're sort of, oh no, we're spoiled for choice. We don't really know quite what to lock in. And this is a situation where it's quite nice to be on the red side. I feel like this is playing into the hands of the GPL as well, because they then have two of these power picks that they can lock in. And Archie could hop on the Mundo in the top lane. They could lock in the Lee Sin for SOFM in the jungle. And I have a feeling that's all she wrote.
It very well could be. I mean, the only other playstyle we've really seen out of the CIS region was the Brand Graves bot lane.
Yeah.
Which felt weird just saying that, but that was exactly what we had.
I was hard
yesterday.
carried by Rusty's Brand only
Oh, yeah?
recently. Yeah, I was playing AD carry. I didn't do anything at all game, and he just got huge and killed everyone. It's fantastic.
Ah, well, I guess that was an uncommon.
No,
kind of,
no, he counts
no,
me every
that's
single
normally
time.
what happens.
Yeah, every single
Oh
time.
man, that's not good, especially if it's in brand support. I mean,
Brand support, he just does a lot of damage, man.
He does. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, oh, if you don't land the stun.
Yeah, I think in reference to me, probably shouldn't be talking about it. But the fact that he just, that passive works so well with the Deathfire touch as well.
Yeah.
So he just does a bunch of work in the laning phase. But we are going to be back into Champion Select very, very soon. Audio issues all tidied up. Hopefully we can get this game underway. It is going to be the same bans.
Yeah. And
Have
it
to
won't
remember.
be Cogmore first pick either.
I have a
because,
feeling it won't be.
Because it was stopped before any further picks went on. It's all good. That's that is the ruling. Is you can't just be like, no, it locked. You've got to pick it. So we'll be flying through the bans and getting to first picks. But I do want to know what CIS we're going to first pick right
Yeah,
now.
what is the
we're gonna find out
priority?
soon.
Well, Misfortune, of course, there, Mundo, Lee Sin. Some sort of priority pick will be coming out
I mean,
in
I'm
the
looking
CS region.
at what they've played. They played Gragas out of the jungle. They played Rek'Sai out of the jungle.
Well, Rek'Sai was a big deal as well for Damajke. He played that one fantastically. So we'll see whether they do decide to get on that.
Yeah, and they did play one game of Elise against Latam yesterday. So they could look to first pick the Elise if they feel like it worked well for them.
Oh, looks like it could be the option.
I
It has been the less successful for SOFM, though. I'm happy that he's not playing the Elise, because his Lee Sin looks so good.
Yeah, I agree, and that also means that looking at this, Dr. Mundo Soraka would be wildly different from what the GPL have been playing. I mean, we're yet to see a team play it, but the general consensus is that that lineup is very strong.
Yeah.
However, I feel like the diving kind of meta compositions are just overall better. Having engage potential in a game where towers die very quickly,
Yeah.
when games can end very quickly because of that, means that the active teams on the map, the teams that are making decisions to dive towers with tanky champions like an Alistar, are going to succeed.
This is crazy. Well, Alistair's already been locked in here. Moss is going to pick up that champion. Does like it a whole bunch. Of course, I just much prefer seeing his Thresh. Kira does have his pick of the litter at the moment, but Misfortune going completely through the draft at this stage. Dr. Mundo there still available. You mentioned Soraka, and I saw the GPL squad. You see an Elise locked in, you think, oh, pick comp could potentially be coming our way. Why not just pick a Soraka, grab the Mundo, and just mean that once you get past 20 minutes, ain't no one going to get picked.
Possibly. I mean, the only thing I'd say about that is that Elise is such a standard
in sort of any
versatile
comp,
jungler that you are right. It can very much so signify that. But I think that's very all-in, and it's such a departure from the GPL style that I think they want to play something they're a little bit more comfortable with, and also take away Lex's Tristana. He has been very strong on that today. In the previous game that we saw against Brazil was a victory over the favorites, potentially, for the tournament, but Lex is going from one scaling AD carry to another.
He most certainly is. The Vayne has been picked up, and that is a ton of pick potential already in those three champions. You get a Death Sentence, you get a Cocoon, and you get a Condemn into a wall. You ain't going to be moving for very long, and I have a feeling you might just die. But SOFM, thinking about what he wants to grab, the Rek'Sai is being hovered. G4 going to grab the Gangplank, and that's the Rek'Sai. So SOFM trying his hand at another one. We'll see whether he's just going to play Warrior Rek'Sai and just dumpster, but not entirely sure. Lex, thank you so much for constantly hovering the Fiddlesticks. It makes me feel so good.
It does, it does. After our first game of the day, seems like a very long time ago.
I know.
The Ultimate
Many
Bravery
moons
game,
ago, the Ultimate Bravery, Wits End Fiddlesticks.
At this point now, you look at what the GPL team have got. Gangplank can obviously flex to the top lane. Haven't seen much GP top in quite a while. Just after the whole Fiora, Darius kind of meta of worlds came up, GP just found a much safer home in the middle lane. Is going to be a farming champion, and honestly, that's what we saw the CIS team punish in the fifth game of the day, the one that they won over Brazil. They punished Kami for picking a farming mid laner and not being able to cope with the mid lane style from Kira. So in this situation, I wonder whether that is going to be the case again.
Yeah, it's a very good point, but that is still a flex pick there for Archie or G4. So it could be a mid laner if they decide that they don't want to take the Gangplank into the Anivia that has been locked in by Kira alongside the Gnar. I mean, that is a lot of area control that they have on the CIS team right now, and we'll see what the GPL answer with.
So much area control and terrain control.
Exactly.
As well.
Oh man, icy
Condemn.
walls with condemns.
And Gnar ults.
Oh,
Lots
so
of
ready.
walls. Danger of the terrain right now. But
They needed a poppy. Where's the poppy?
I was going to say one farming mid laner into the other, but GP has been swapped up into the top lane.
Yeah, there it is.
I mean, Gnar isn't the worst matchup in the world for GP. It's one that he can survive through. Generally, in this kind of situation, until GP can actually clear the back minions, it does tend to be a little tricky before he can actually explode the barrel and farm out the wave pretty comfortably. But as soon as he reaches that point, he tends to be fine against Gnar. Gnar, obviously, being ranged, will punish him in the early game. Mid lane's an interesting one. Anivia into Victor.
Seems just like kill minions all the time.
Absolutely does. Say you're never pushing past this point anyway.
Exactly. And it's like both of them are going to be killing minion waves without any opposition at all because they just clear them out immediately with the Glacial Storm and, of course, that Death Ray. Doing it quite well. Of course, Anivia takes a bit of time to cut them down, but we'll see how it works. And whether we're going to have a little bit more action than I at first anticipated, or whether it is just going to be that farming simulator in the mid lane. But I'm excited to see how Archie does on this Gangplank in the top lane as well, because he has played it relatively recently, played incredibly well towards the end of the GPL, but this is preseason. We don't know how it's going to work there in the top lane as well, especially considering what Spawn said, the fact that you can get to that 40% cooldown reduction so much easier, and whether he'll go down that route or not. But we are very, very close to getting into the game, ladies and gentlemen. The CIS region taking on the GPL from SEA. The Southeast Asian squad looking to try and bounce back, and CIS, they're coming off a victory against Brazil. What we thought was going to be the top team here at the IWCA. And as you can see, making their way out onto the Rift, and they'll have confidence to play with this time around, Stress.
Oh yeah, morale's going to be at an all-time high for the CIS team. And a win here would certainly actually put them in standings for the ability to compete further up.
Oh yeah.
And remember, it's not just the 5v5 portion. The 5v5 portion is going to give you points. And those points will be used in conjunction with the 1v1 tournament.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of take a middle-of-the-table spot in 5v5 and win the 1v1s, you could just end up leapfrogging yourself over a bunch of the teams. So there's certainly still a lot to play for. Even though we can kind of see where the pack is starting to settle, there's still a whole another day's more action tomorrow before we actually will see where the dust has finally settled.
Well, that's the thing that's really exciting about this, because it seems like teams are taking games off everyone. There's no team that seems to be just rifling ahead. There's no SKT in this particular tournament that's just never losing and taking every victory. So it looks like we are going to have a whole lot more competition than what we may have been expecting when we saw Brazil's lineup, the fact that they do have so many big names. And right now, it looks like anyone can take games off anyone. And I sort of had the GPL as my dark horse, just because in these unpredictable scenarios, it does seem to just play into their hands, but we saw it tore apart. We'll see whether the CIS team, coming off their victory, is going to be able to do the same thing.
I expect a bit of a slower paced game though. Really, when you look at this, you've got an Anivia, you've got a Victor, you've got a Gangplank. Everybody wants to farm, but the one thing that the GPL team can do very well is clear waves just under their turret. Gangplank can do it, Victor can do it. That neutralizes...
Tristana can do it too, really.
Trist can do it as well, and I have seen people start building in the very early onset of the patch. Was even seeing Hurricane Trist, which meant you cleared waves basically instantly.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Because you like throw the bomb on one and everything dies around it with the added damage from the Hurricane. They can clear waves incredibly quickly. Tristana can push turrets very quickly, as well as is obvious. So, I mean, the side lanes are basically never going to be pushing in favor of the Starladder team if the Southeast Asian team are doing things by the book. Moss is looking to try and catch out Tumanke.
Yeah, he hasn't been spotted just yet. SOFM is going to get the knock-up. Cocoon is going to be available. Moss comes around. There's the knock-up. First blood goes to the cow. And Moss, this is the sort of play that we've been looking for from this guy. He always leaves
his lane partner alone and heads around at level 2. And this is sort of the first time we've seen it at RWCA, and it was successful straight out of the gate.
Yeah, really nice adaptation from the GPL from what they've been doing in other games, as you mentioned. I mean, Tristana is an AD carry that at level 2 can sit there on her own. She already will have rocket jump available, so almost no kind of threat coming from the CIS team as Moss leaves the lane. Big win here in this early game. That has absolutely stamped SOFM onto this game. Little bit sad Moss got the kill from that. I think SOFM could have snowballed pretty hard, but if he can pick up a kill somewhere else, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, SOFM is now so much further ahead.
Yeah.
As far as all of that extra farm is concerned. Oh, Moss not quite grabbing the combo there as Damashke comes in at exactly the right time. Moss in a fair bit of trouble. That's a big bomb on Demonko's head, but doesn't matter. Damashke immediate revenge on the cattle.
Just utilizing the flash being down from Moss. That's the big factor in that is, yes, Moss roams out of the jungle, but they didn't respect the ability for Damashke to come over and punish. And that will help Damashke get back in the game. He is still without a red buff, as that fight did happen in his own red buff area, and now SOFM will take his own, but certainly that's going to allow Damashke to come back just a little bit.
Yeah, well, House heading towards the creep wave here as Archie's looking to try and get himself in parlay range of his barrel in order to get some more harassment onto Smurf. Really like how Gangplank works in the top lane just because you have so much closer proximity to these brushes. Another one. Oh, went for the triple threat. Liked it.
Yeah. You can see the barrel mechanics coming out as you alluded to.
Archie, he most certainly is a seasoned Gangplank player.
And with the bushes, as you said. Mid lane, it's a little bit more tricky to do. As soon as you start going towards a bush, it's like, wait, why are you walking out?
Yeah, exactly.
What is this? You're either warning or you got a
fishing in the water. Something like that. But we'll see whether he's going to continue to play this lane out as well as he has been. Of course, Smurf is still going to have all of that CC, and you can look, the hyper proc. Mininard doing some work against Archie, looking for that final auto attack. Doesn't get it quite in time with the boomerang. As Archie's probably just going to head back to base. Refill his mana pool, get back in there. Damashke once again hanging around, but you can see SOFM is waiting for him to head into the brush. Tremorsense, of course, knows exactly what's going on. Volatile Spiderling going to check that one, so knows now that there's no vision, and SOFM is just hunting.
He is. He's looking deep into the jungle. He's right around the back of Damashke, who's gone aggressive onto Moss.
Yeah, there's the knock-up onto Damashke as well. So a few more auto attacks going to be needed from Moss, but Explosive Shot is going to go down. Nice Repel is going to help out, but you can see the teleport's coming in as well. That teleport is definitely down from the top lane as Smurf makes his way in. Just going to hop on top of Moss. The last hyper is going to be able to grab him one more time. 1, 2, and 0 now.
They're looking
for the Alistar.
They're looking for it. I mean, Victor was roaming down, can't quite get there, but a couple of coincidental things happened right in the middle of that. Archie being forced back and teleporting into the lane opened up the time for Smurf to come to the bottom side, and also the repel timing from Damashke was so on point. Just as the unburrow was trying to come up, SOFM was trying to manually unburrow under multiple people to try and get the absolute most out of that knockup, and couldn't get it because the only person he was about to unburrow under was an Elise, who went right up into the air.
Yeah, the repel nullifying the extra damage that a few more auto attacks under that explosive shot would have done. Death Ray going to go wide here onto Kira. G4 struggling a little bit in this lane. It was a fantastic trade from Kira with the Glacial Storm now that he has hit that level 6. Well, SOFM looking for it here. There's the ultimate. My God! That is most definitely a fried egg as Archie's going to pick that one up. Jeez, you know how you ask at the restaurant how you want your fries, how you want your eggs? That was not poached.
That wasn't poached.
That was close to scrambled.
That was pretty much hard-boiled at that point.
Oh my goodness, there are so many different egg analogies we could have gone for. I have a feeling your hard-boiled option was the best.
Excellent.
Oh God.
Should I leave?
I think this is our last cast, Stress. I think we're done from here. Demonko, though, has been caught out in his jungle. Uses the flash. Death Sentence not going to find anyone. It's Optimus and Moss just parading through the enemy jungle.
So with that mid lane matchup, we were saying there's not going to be too much action. Of course, when you bring SOFM into the fold, kind of turns things around and makes things kind of crazy. So Kira was pushed up, and even through the egg passive got taken out. But SOFM is making a home in the jungle of Dimashka right now. Second red buff taken away.
And the complete juke of everything there as the Cocoon was aiming for him, not actually trying to leave that direction. Instead just tunnels his way home and gets out of the way of the wall as well. SOFM thinks that he might even be able to take this pink ward, but not without a fight here as he has to tunnel one more time. G4 now finds himself in an uncomfortable position as the minion gets in the way of the Prey Seeker. Kira now just losing a bit of the mana bar, but not too much else.
And I think one of the most interesting things about the way that SOFM is able to create this pressure is that it's at the same time that Kira is pushing mid out, G4 isn't able to respond very quickly when it comes to SOFM if he gets caught. The same with bottom lane. SOFM is playing pretty riskily in that jungle. Yes, he had a couple of wards that have now died out, but look at the ward control that the Starladder team has. If SOFM tries that again, granted there are no real objectives to go for when it comes to the buffs, if SOFM continues, it's going to be an easy read coming out from the CIS team, and they can punish a play like that.
Yeah, they have definitely invested a lot of money into this defensive warding in their jungle, and if SOFM just decides that instead he wants to start ganking the top lane over and over again, it means that a lot of that will go to waste. As now Dimashka is going to discover a pink ward. May have saved Archie's life though, as he can now play a little bit further back. Does have the ultimate available if he wants to clear out the minion wave, but instead just going to get the heck out of dodge. Actually going to use it. There it is. So going to get himself a little bit of farm and stop that tower from falling down. Smurf to see whether he can take down this Rift Herald with Dimashke's help by the looks of things, and G4 going to continue clearing out his wave. So CIS team, see whether they can use this to push down further. GPL answer with the Dragon. Close to 1,000 gold lead here for the Southeast Asian lineup as they trade their respective buffs. And now the test will really be on what is going to be more worthwhile in the early game. The Smurf was going to be the one that picks that up.
Short-term gain is going to go to the CIS team from here. I mean, Gangplank still is struggling with the minions as they were, so now giving the Rift Herald over to Na makes that lane a little more difficult once again. So at this point, GPL's gain from Dragon isn't going to become evident until later. That's a flash trying for the pulverize.
Yeah, Demonko is going to get completely caught out of position. That explosive shot's going to do so much work. Buster shot into the wall for the damage. There's the Goomba Stomp. Death Sentence comes down. Optimus has to use the heal, but he's going to trade it. Moss as well, so incredibly low. And Smurf going to kite this cow for as long as he can. Headbutt's going to be used. That's the last of his mana. Nice juke out of the way of the boomerang, but he's so dead. Moss falls down. That is a 2-for-1 and a completely misjudged dive.
Demonko with a great set of plays in the bottom lane, survived through the initial onslaught from Moss. Great hook under the tower to keep him in place as Optimus just went far too aggressive, did not respect the exhaust that Demonko was holding on for, and he held on to that for so long. He could have used that at any time previously, but just read what was about to happen. So great set of plays out from the support from the CIS region.
Yeah, Archie utilizing this time alone with the turret though to almost get that one down. SOFM looking for the mid lane. Kira low on mana. Does have a blue buff, of course.
No egg this time. But he does have teammates. That's pretty much better than
definitely a man advantage here. The Smurf getting aggro, does have the ultimate available. Archie taking so much burst damage as the Mega Gnar comes in. He's looking for the next parlay, not going to find it. Smurf gets the 1v1 and then wanders back through the ult because he doesn't care.
Yeah, you can see
Archie,
also
SOFM was on his way.
Yeah, desperately trying to stick around, stay in his ultimate. At top lane, I don't think SOFM. He's going for the turret.
Oh, he flashes underneath. The shutdown comes in, tries to kill the turret, but doesn't get there. G4 can't kill the egg as Kira's able to make it up. And then they just stand next to each other for a second. Not going to happen. The pause comes in. See what that one is about. The GPL currently 600 gold ahead. Or basically nothing ahead, Stress. This game is very close and not exactly how the GPL have been playing. Of course, often it's going to be scrappy, it's going to be lots of kills, but 6 and 4, 11 minutes into the game, like, that's less kills than minutes.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to do maths then. I was like, I thought you said more, and I was like, 10 is definitely less than 11.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I think I said
it's
less.
okay. You said it the right way.
Oh, good.
I had to like double check in my head. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's wrong. And then
I doubted
realized you
myself
were right.
immediately. As
No,
soon as you brought it into question, I'm like, yep, probably got it wrong.
I doubted you, then I doubted me that I couldn't do 6 plus 4.
Let's just believe in each other.
Yeah,
I think from now on.
I'm just gonna trust you, Max. I'm gonna trust in our horrible puns.
Well, we also need to trust in G4 because he's got Kira so incredibly low. We saw him manage to get that egg down, and now Kira's struggling underneath his turret. We'll see whether this Victor can take over the game. We saw it in the hands of Naru, and he was able to take over as well. We've seen G4 put his team on his back on multiple occasions, not only at RWCA, but also when he was on the Bangkok Titans. This guy is a force to be reckoned with. Doesn't have the teleport, which is interesting, and he's now playing sort of more of a control mage rather than the assassin, but we'll see how he's going to be able to play out this game as we get further ahead, or whether the sort of rotational play that, you know, the Bangkok Titans were known for not quite getting is going to come out after we get past this sort of mid-game period of the game.
A lot still to be determined in this
Exactly.
matchup, but if you're putting stock in one person right now, it seems like Smurf is the one to put it in. 4-1-0 on this Nah. Coincidentally, because of Gangplank's extra farming ability, he is only 300 gold up.
Oh my goodness.
Being 3 kills up and, you know, a little bit of farm down, Gangplank is still hanging on in there and is about to hit a very important point with that Trinity Force being completed. That generally is the time where he can survive on even footing against the Nah, but it is still going to be tricky when Smurf teleports into a fight, slams 4 people against a wall and kind of walks away with his life, but he will get considerably tankier than a Trist can deal with this early on in the game.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Smurf is going to be a big problem, and we'll see whether he can actually get sort of G4 out of a fight early on as well, because when you've got so much CC in that massive Nar ultimate, if he flashes into that and then gets the wallop down as well, that is so much time that G4 cannot do anything. Even if he gets a cleanse off, he could just get walloped straight afterwards as well before he can get that burst down. So we'll see whether Smurf is going to be what turns this game around, because the rest of the team, they're looking to scale because, of course, Anivia fantastic in the late game, and Vayne, we don't even need to talk about that anymore. I mean, that's been done to death.
I mean, somehow she's become great in the mid game as well. 2 items, Vayne. Whoever thought 2-item Vayne would be a thing? Because everyone's like, no, 4 items. Just wait. just wait. She'll become great, and then she'll just take everybody out once you finally get to a late game fight. But no, 2 items is the name of the game. Static Shiv into Rapid Fire Cannon makes her very strong. Those empowered auto attacks, plus the tumble, plus the silver bolts, plus everything. Throw the kitchen sink in there.
Yeah,
Vayne
exactly.
apparently can do everything right now. So somehow, some way, Vayne has found her way to the top of the pack.
She most certainly has, and actually now has a CS lead over Optimus on the Tristana as well. I mean, we've spoken about Tristana as being pretty good in the 1v1 scenario as far as the laning phase is concerned, but hasn't been able to find it in this game in particular. So, of course, 81 to 94. Static Shiv now completed, so that is the first power spike for this Vayne, who now, sort of the one glaring weakness of a Vayne, the wave clear, she's got it in spades, because now that Static Shiv basically does half health to every minion that you hit.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what happens when a Vayne sets his sights on a minion wave. But one thing I want to kind of bring it back to the current state of this mid lane is a lot of the reason why G4 was just able to almost annihilate Kira is Kira's set on a lot of gold right now. Playing fairly greedily, 1,500 in the bank. G4 had just back to buy, so there was a big item differential right now. Or just then, is those two were going toe-to-toe. We'll see exactly. I believe we are unpaused and ready to go.
G4!
Relentless!
Man, he was waiting to do that. Of course, the game was paused, ladies and gentlemen, and then G4, he's like, okay, I haven't killed someone in about 5 minutes. Must flash forward, but gets right over the queue as well. Make sure that he can secure that one. Damashke not quite there in time. Really well played by the bloodthirsty mid laner of the GPL.
Stone cold.
Oh, yeah.
That right there. Woo! Just coming straight out of a pause. Flashing in with your
You better be ready.
You better be ready. I mean, I think Kira was ready. He kind of knew what his fate was going to be, but that came out of nowhere. Whew.
Well, Archie makes his way back towards the lane. Has the annoying 3 parts of the Trinity Force. Of course, now on this patch, worth 300 gold to combine those items. It's not the 87 that it weirdly used to be.
I remember when it used to be 3 for a while.
I know, that was good.
great. You'd
Good
go
time.
Zeal and then just keep clicking on the
And then you'd
Trinity
see
part.
someone with all of the parts, and you're like, come on, guys.
it was 3.
Yeah, you have to wait like half a second.
Did you
It's not
really
worth
have
it.
to get out of the lane
Yeah,
that quickly?
it actually made me angry.
It does, yeah. And there's a lot of things like that that I look at it and I'm like, I'm angry.
Yeah,
For no
nitpicking.
real reason.
It's really silly. Well, Smurf hits Mega enough for no reason at all. 104 CS though, even in the top lane, there's 3 extra kills are going to help Smurf stay ahead. But as you mentioned, Archie, being Gangplank, just pretty good at making money. Man, the static shift crit. This is what we were talking about. This does a whole lot of work here as Lex able to clear out this wave quite nicely. Demonko hanging around here as well, just picking up some souls and making his life a little bit better. G4 makes his way back to lane with the makings of an Abyssal Scepter. And a couple of upgrades on that Hex Core as well. Extra movement speed from the Q as well as the AoE. Extra damage from that Death Ray, giving him so much wave clear. That was huge. Demanche is looking to try and take down Archie underneath this turret. The barrel's going to go down. Lots of extra damage here. The ultimate's here. Diving Archie's going to be dangerous. Smurf takes so much damage. Thankfully gets into Meganar, and I don't know how they survived that trade.
On a sliver of health, the turret was way too healthy to have actually not been a factor in that fight, but it wasn't quite enough for Archie. I mean, you could see Archie kind of challenge them, place down 2 barrels and hope that he could get enough damage out from them. Trinity Force wasn't quite enough. It's enough to clear the waves, but actually take that fight. He came so close. Just a little more damage and he would have been able to do it. One auto attack maybe would have killed Smurf, but great Meganar timing as he jumped away after using the flash. So just barely holding on with Smurf.
Well, Demanche was able to finish off that turret as well as Kira makes his way back into the lane. SOFM picks up tower aggro, now has to burrow his way out. Almost was stunned underneath that one. Demanche, half of his health is gone as he comes into the mid lane, but not going to start anything up just yet.
Walls aren't so great against champions that can kind of tunnel under.
Yeah, it's the...
I mean, especially when it's pool party. When I see that wall, it's like more like a, you know, like a pool volleyball kind of net, where it's like you get tangled in it, but suddenly you find your way under it and you're actually
It's not like tennis where the net's like fairly far down.
No.
And it's volleyball, you can basically just run under it.
I mean, I'm yet to see someone try and run under a net in tennis. I think you'd fail very hard.
Well, Lex is going to get smacked underneath the turret here. Moss just trying to take his life into his own hands.
No
Dark Passage is going to come down. Archie looking for the explosions. Isn't going to find it just yet as Lex is trying to turn it around. Optimus jumps in on top of Lex. But is able to use that final hour, stealth up and get out of this one. That was an optimistic entrance into that fight by Archie, but may net themselves a dragon.
Yeah, I mean, seemingly the only page that the GPL team are on together is Kira's page in his
Go in
right now. So that one was really mistimed. In goes Elise!
Takes the Dark Passage to get out as well. That Venomous Bite with the Smite combo, you just cannot do any more damage than that. So well played from this CIS team, and they have stepped up today's stress.
Absolutely they have, and they are actually becoming a real fun team to watch as well.
Yeah.
Pulling off flashy plays here and there. I mean, Lex just managed to survive in a 2 versus 4 in the bottom lane. Yep. Then they steal away the dragon and get the turret. The Starladder team is showing up big.
Really big. I feel like there may have been some underestimation here, but I think that we also did as well here on the caster desk, because we weren't expecting this level of play out of these guys. So beautiful to see. Archie trying to do his best to get back into this one. It is going to be 20% cooldown reduction now available to this Gangplank. Not opting for the Essence Reaver by the looks of things. Wants cooldown reduction now, doesn't want to wait until he can utilize it from that crit.
And honestly, that's what I was expecting Kami perhaps to do earlier, is if you're not opting for the Essence Reaver very early, go for the very cheap cooldown reduction item in the boots. I mean, it's not optimal, but it doesn't cost much, especially on this patch. It's like basically 1,000 gold just to get the Lucidity boots. And I mean, it's okay, they're not as efficient as they used to be, but if you're not rushing full cooldown reduction, just be content with that. Run around faster.
Yeah.
Because Kami waited until like 40 minutes. I actually don't remember whether he finished that game with boots. I know he had level 1 boots for so long.
Just likes them brown bags, man. Well, Optimus continues utilize his static shiv in order to clear out this minion wave. Lex does have the ultimate and, of course, the passive available. SOFM looking to try and deter him from just destroying Optimus. That was one more auto attack. Lex would have grabbed that one, but thankfully Buster Shot was there. I think the message was received, Stress.
I think it was loud and clear, and Lex even was saying to SOFM, come on, I'll challenge you as well. You may have a little bit of health on you with a Sight Stone and a Cinder Hulk, but I think I can take you. I think I can.
Doesn't have a whole lot of damage on the side of this Rek'Sai.
No, not
But
at all.
look, that's the Wombo combo. Cannon as well as the Shiv. Wait, can we call it the Shannon?
Shannon. Shannon. I like it.
Yeah. I don't have many friends called Shannon, so it doesn't confuse me.
I'm trying to think of people I know called Shannon.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my cousins
Yeah, I
is,
do.
so that's...
His last name's Shannon. So, I mean, I guess that's a thing. Okay, CS region are now trying to siege. Can be difficult with a Vayne, but when you got a rapid fire cannon, things are a little bit better. Or a Shannon.
Or a Shannon. Oh yeah, that's killing me, man. That's... Can we go back to egg puns?
I don't know.
At least I can like contribute to those. Oh dear.
Good old Shannon. Well, Optimus continues to clear in the bottom lane. Static Shiv helping out there as well. So many Shivs.
So little time.
And cannons.
So little time in this one. But here is us holding fast in this middle lane, and I don't expect anything else. I mean, it's an Anivia. It is just gonna...
Yep, the Froggen
basically-
tactics are coming in.
Yeah, the Froggen tactics are coming in. But saying that, so is Victor. I mean, this has just been a completely neutralized
Yeah, this is what we
mid
were
lane
thinking,
for
right?
a very long time. I mean, it took a pause for G4 to come out and blow up Kira to really turn anything in this middle lane. But still, that is the name of the game. Side lanes, however, towers have been falling left, right, and center. So only one side lane outer tower has gone down.
And Optimus as well. He's been staying in this bottom lane just trying to clear things out. You can see there's a fair bit of vision on the bottom side of the map, on the GPL side at least, in order to keep that Tristana safe, but can't push too much further forward. As the Starlighter team do have a whole lot of control over that one. G4 may finally be able to grab this turret. Nice juke out of the way of the death sentence. They're not going to get walled in. Minions are going to be destroyed just before that tower falls. But I think that's like another cheeky auto. That's going to be enough. Condemn actually blocks Optimus against the wall, but Lex not wanting to take the straight up trade.
I like what I'm seeing from Moss. Lucidity boots with distortion. He's going to flash pulverize every single time he can. And if it fails once, he's just going to keep going for it. I mean, that's a lot of gold.
Yeah,
to put
even on
into just
minions.
a
Look at
cage.
that.
I know, right? He's like, I'm just going for it. That's great. He does have his flash up right now as well. So as soon as he spots somebody out of position, he's likely to go for it. The problem is, there's a Gnar, there's an Anivia, there's a lot of crowd control that's going to just shove him straight back. So unless he can get right onto the back line, which is a tough ask, I actually don't think Alistair is going to be able to really get significant engages.
Oh,
I mean,
that's a good point.
He'll get him, but whether it'll be enough to win a fight.
I think he needs to flash pulverize someone though, because you know, now that it's off cooldown,
Yeah,
those lucidity boots, the distortion, it's not doing anything
sure.
at this point. So he's just got to go in.
Team
But
coming
Lex
in bot lane.
might be in trouble. SOFM making his way around as well. Final hour has been popped, but he's slowed down. Optimus flashes after the rocket jump and is going to make it to safety. Here's Lex. Death Sentence comes down. Cocoon misses Moss. It's time to flash. That is an odd time for a pause, guys.
Well, it's also...
We can break down this situation, though,
Yeah,
right now,
okay.
Stress.
Okay, so what we can talk about, well, as we still got it on your screen, what we can talk about is Smurf cancelled his teleport. And then the rest of the CIS team was still looking kind of to fight. Demonco was looking to engage with a hook. He actually, I believe, just caught SOFM in this one, but the rest of the GPL team is already here, and Smurf, with no teleport, is stuck top side of the map. He now has to go and do something else. I don't know whether this is a fight that the GPL team can win. It's a 4 versus 5, and Moss just flashed onto Dimajka,
Yeah.
looking for the pulverize.
Well, it's a 4 versus 5 in the GPL's favor, you have to
Yes,
remember.
yes.
Yeah, so we'll see what they can do. Of course, Lex has already used both summoner spells at this stage. And this fight could be gigantic for both teams. The gold is perfectly even. 35,400 for both teams, irrespective of how each lane has gone. So this could be the fight that turns everything around. I mean, that pause timing, I mean, you have to say that if something goes wrong, you have to pause immediately.
Yep.
But look, it's going to be very hard for the players to get right back into that moment immediately, and we'll see what happens as soon as we get back into the action.
I mean, maybe not for G4.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
He
G4
was
is just
ready.
like, okay,
He was like,
kill
5,
things.
4,
In fact, this
3,
may just
go.
work out better for the GPL just because he knows that, okay, I need to kill everyone now.
He knows he's got that timing down.
Yeah, exactly.
He's had practice on this one.
Well, he
but,
sees the countdown, right? And it's like 3, 2, 1, fight, you know, like a fighting game, something like that.
Yeah.
Makes a fair bit of sense to me.
I wonder whether he'll be throwing out the like Mortal Kombat fatalities like Yamato was talking about earlier from SOFM. So weird how that tied back into the end of the day. But I mean, SOFM in this game basically set up camp into Dimashka's jungle very early on. But it was a good reaction out of the CIS team of how to get to Dimashka back into the game. Taking in bot lane, looking for a kill after that first blood that came on in the jungle from Moss's roam. So it was a smart set of plays to maintain control in some aspects out of the jungle, but still SOFM has had a fair amount of freedom.
Yeah, he has. And of course, has been down there sort of babysitting Optimus as much as he possibly can, seeing whether, you know, Lex can get baited into fights. And it happened just then. And we have now got a situation on our hands where it's Lex trying to turn that one around. Smurf, of course, unable to get to the fight. It's going to be very, very hard. But we'll see whether SOFM is going to start moving around the map, because Archie's going to be a huge deal in the later stages of the game. Now has a slight CS advantage. We'll see whether once he has sort of the Infinity Edge, whether he's going to go for that Essence Reaver, which it looks like he might be going for. He does have a couple of long swords and a BF sword now in his inventory. A lot of flat AD, but does build towards the Essence Reaver. It means he's going to be over the cooldown reduction cap, which is going to be odd.
He's going to have to sell the boots and rebuy.
Yeah, grab something else.
Something tells me he's probably not got the 45% CDR mastery. I mean, I would assume not at this point. I mean, if he does, he's still going to be pushing past that. And I don't know whether you need that much cooldown reduction. It's quite overkill. But one thing I kind of want to talk about is the situation with Smurf is not only can he not make it to the fight, he actually doesn't have many decisions that are viable options.
Yeah, where else does he go?
Yeah, because he can't run top. The wave is basically neutral in top lane right now. He can't get an objective from top lane, so he sacrifices his team losing the fight and losing further objectives. Mid lane is a one-shot on the tower. A small gust of wind is going to blow that over, so it doesn't even matter whether he clears the minions away because the rest of the GPL team will be able to take it. I mean, what can he do? He keeps running down, hoping the team fight lasts long enough for him to get to bottom lane to push the wave out to try and stop the GPL team from doing anything. And even after that, Dragon's up in 30 seconds.
And he also doesn't have Mega now because he's going to be running through the jungle.
Yeah, exactly. So Smurf really doesn't have a lot to do here. In fact, maybe his best option is just to recall and doesn't even have any gold to spend.
No!
He's got like 134 gold. Like,
well, buy another potion, walk back to top lane, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, assuming the GPL team push through the bottom side, he can just about save the mid turret. So it means on the recall they have slightly less gold to work with, but none of these plays are optimal in this situation.
Yeah, and we're looking at this sort of team fight as well. I know you guys can't see it on your screen at the moment, but it is very broken up, sort of all over that bottom lane, right up towards the Tri-Brush. We are going to have the game unpaused very, very soon. And as you can see, the headbutt onto Demonko as he heads back into the GPL lineup. Everyone just backing away. It seems like when a team fight has to be paused and everyone isn't allowed to discuss what to do, it makes it very difficult to get back into it right at the beginning.
That is very true. And it actually means that Smurf didn't have to make any decisions at all. He just went mid.
Yeah, went mid.
And pushed it through. So no real comeuppance from that fight. Dragon has spawned, however.
That was really anticlimactic, wasn't it?
It was. But at the same time, I think that's kind of okay. I'm okay with that. I mean, we are going to get a fight over this Dragon, I would assume. G4 is actually still pushing mid lane. There's a lot of action going on right here when it comes to little nuances pushing back and forward. GPL want to start the Dragon. G4 is about to come in to the fight with the rest of the team. Wall has landed. Archie hooked, but there goes the Mandarin.
Yeah, he's just going to eat oranges. He's going to be K. Lex, though, is going to get turned around upon. That's a fantastic condemn, but it's not going to be enough. Archie, very, very low. Dimashka, sorry, he's going to fall immediately. Smurf takes down G4, but it's all about this Tristana. SOFM gets caught by the Death Sentence, the flash out from SOFM as he takes down the Dragon. That's going to get taken by Optimus as well, and it's all about this Tristana in this fight.
Why was Lex coming in from the bottom side of the fight alone? Where was everybody else from around him? I can't tell whether that was a team error or a Lex error in that situation, but that's a big win for the GPL team, taking the Dragon, the second one off the game, plus taking some kills from that fight. They managed to take out Dimashka fairly early on, and Lex wasn't able to output quite enough. I want to see exactly what forced him to run in alone. Was it Dimashka kind of repelling up? You can see Lex's position. He has two options. He can either come in or try and wait out at the back. SOFM catches him just on his own in the back of this fight as he was trying to come up. Good prioritization by SOFM. Not to just go for the Dragon, and actually to just look for the high priority target in that fight and take him out before he could get any damage out.
Yeah, the tunnel around the back of the fight was really what turned that one around, because otherwise it would have been Optimus versus Lex, and we've known that Lex is more than happy to take those fights, but it's definitely well played. Optimus now going towards his own rapid-fire cannon after that Infinity Edge. Looks like the Tristana way, as both of these players have now opted for that particular build on both of the champions. Just seems to be pretty good right now. Lex is going to take himself down some probes. We'll see whether Starlighter side can get further into this game, because now they're starting to fall behind.
There's a very interesting thing going on in this game, and that is the trinkets from the GPL team.
Whoa, that is a lot of blue.
Blue trinkets. I actually haven't seen this, and I don't think it's particularly
They're trying their
optimal.
very best to be blue side right now. They're like, oh, we wish that we were blue side. We'll just take all blue trinkets. It sort of looks like it.
This drives so much of your economy into pink wards. Just straight up, you have no way of really clearing wards out without spending extra gold on it, which is fine if you're prepared to do that. It will grant you patches of vision fairly consistently, but it does take away from your ability to get your next item pretty quickly. I mean, if you supplement pink wards with sweepers, you just have generally more control over the enemy vision. At this point, GPL are just saying we want some of our vision as much as we can, rather than denying the Starladder team any.
Yeah, that's a good point. Or maybe they're just saying that you can have your vision. We're just happy to fight you wherever you want, and we're going to be able to get vision wherever we want.
I mean, very rarely do I feel like that's a good tactic, and this is not one of those times.
No, I don't think it's ever a good tactic, but it might be
I'm glad.
a Southeast Asia tactic just based on these players and their will for aggression.
I was going to say, Max, you're used to watching EUG, who are the masters of saying you will have no vision and
Yes,
we will punish
exactly.
you for it. I was going to say, I'm not too sure that that's a viable strategy.
It's all based on, what you're used to. And when there's a couple of Bangkok Titans players, you have to think that we want to fight you whenever we can, so we're just going to stand in a bad position where you have vision so that you'll come and fight us.
Yeah, we'll bait you into fighting us because you think with every piece of information you can still take it. Somehow, though, team fight mechanics, how do they work?
Yeah, I don't even know. But BF Sword now picked up on top of the Essence Reaver that Archie picked up, so now has a possible 55% cooldown reduction that is in fact impossible to get.
So, interestingly enough, Archie does have the mastery that allows him to get at 45%.
Oh,
so
really?
He is set at 45% CDR rate. So he's gone over the cap because he's allowed to.
Yeah, but I mean, you just get the extra 5% from the mastery anyway. So it's still silly. It could have been Mercury's Treads.
Yeah,
or
it could have been.
Ninja Tabi.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Or Swifty Boots. Could have been anything.
Swifty.
He could have been running so fast.
No, I don't want to see Boots of Swiftness. We saw enough of that yesterday.
No, Boots of Swiftness are the best, man.
Was that BRTT that built Boots of Swiftness on an 80 carry yesterday?
Yeah, on Misfortune.
Yeah, it was.
So she can strut her stuff even faster.
Strut a little stuff on the catwalk.
Yep. They were made for walking, my friend.
That's two very different songs.
Yeah, I know. Just
very different old reference songs. Max, there are people watching that don't know either of those songs.
Oh, if you can do it, I can do it as well.
That's true. Anything you can do, I can do to the same level. This is a partnership.
I feel like that quote just backfired a little bit. There's a little skirmish in the mid lane while we're talking about silly old songs. Kyrus is going to take down the mid lane turret as best he can. Descent lands onto G4, immediately uses the cleanse, but Demonko follows it over the wall. Has to be very careful as the gravity field is here, then decides to walk through the box. SOFM and Archie now waiting alongside. These barrels are doing so much work. Kira is going to be an egg bomb now as Archie just wants to shoot people with his gun. He's going to do so. Another barrel across the wall. Not going to find anyone there as the repel is not going to help Dimashka at all.
Now over the top, the explosive shot not going to quite be enough to take down the Spider Lady, but that's 2-0 in favor of GPL, and they might go to Baron.
All based off a hook that Dimonco tried to follow. Had G4 not had his flash available, that would have been a brilliant catch, but cleanse into flash for the follow-up over the wall dragged Dimonco so far away from his team. Nobody from CIS was actually expecting that to go over onto the catwalk, so trying to actually maneuver back up onto the red side of the rift was just too little too late. Gravity field just worked too well in that little area as well, so G4 with a nice flash over the wall to be able to take down Dimonco.
Yeah, exceptionally well played. Smurf now trying to be a nuisance around the side here as you have the Void Rush. Dimonco taking a lot of damage as Optimus has a fully charged explosive shot, but now does have that the Equinox, so he's going to be okay. A little bit of tanky stats there alongside the armor with that Zeke's Harbinger. Alex is going to be critting a heck of a lot, Stress.
Yeah, a lot of crits coming out, but Dragon is back up available once again. GPL are going to be the team to start it up. We have got 2. That is 3. Trist gets that one.
It's going to be a second secure of the Dragon by Optimus. SOFM finds himself in an uncomfortable position. Static Shift does a heck of a lot of damage to both Damashke and Kira. SOFM he always looks like he wants to go in, no matter what level of health he's on.
He doesn't look like it. He does want to go in.
Oh, right, that's why.
All the time.
That'd explain it.
There's only a forward gear for SOFM.
Oh, look at that Chaos Storm doing so much work. Not only that, they clear out the minion wave. Smurf, half health now, throws a boulder at G4 in anger after he took out most of Kira's health bar. No egg available anymore either, so we'll have to go back to base and repair that health bar. And these barrels are starting to hurt.
They really are. And that's the thing is, the difference...
Ninja Tabi has been picked up as well.
He sold the boots. There we go.
He
You realized. Good job. Great job, Archie. I mean, there we go. Utilizing a very low economy item that gave him the earlier stats that he could then sell.
It's proving your point almost perfectly.
I don't know whether it's a good point to prove, but he's proving it nonetheless. I'll take this. I'll take this as a win.
Yeah, good, definitely.
But the one thing that Gangplank has had in this game is freedom. 305 CS right now.
Yeah.
This is what Kami would have loved to have had at this level against the CIS team earlier, but Kami was just getting caught out a little too much, couldn't get the freedom to farm and just had a very quiet game, whereas in this one, Archie is able to farm it to a very strong point, has prioritized the right items in the right order, and is very strong at this point. I'm looking forward to seeing these barrels start doing more and more damage from Archie.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And now with that 40%, 45% CDR, he's just going to be able to get so many barrels off in a fight. You can see right now, just shoot anything that he wants. It's starting to hurt.
It is. And something else that I guess will start to hurt, and kind of makes me chuckle, is Optimus has a rapid fire cannon on Tristana.
Yeah, he's got the same build. Just going for it. One more time.
I mean, if Tristana didn't have a high enough attack range as it was, that is now a really annoying Tristana to deal with. At level 18, that's just going to be an insane amount. She's going to, like, two-shot you from half a screen away.
Yeah, for one auto attack, you're a Baron-empowered siege.
That's actually true.
Well, it's a thing to aspire to, as G4 now has the Rabbidan's Death Cap as well as that perfect Hex score in the Abyssal Scepter. Looks like he's building towards a Lich Bane as well. More damage all the time is what this Victor wants. Starlight aside, actually grouping up, trying to get some siege going in this mid lane. The outer turret did just fall down. The inner turret might be the option here as blue trinkets going off left, right, and center. It's a lot of wave clear. I mean, G4 not struggling when it comes to killing minions or anything.
PvE's his game, man. That's how it is.
Really?
Well, not normal. G4's no. I was going to say, this game is his jam. But he's trying a different server, you know? He's not a PvP server. He wants his PvE. Just give me some quests. I
want to see what happens when he clicks on the RP server.
This Victor, that would be...
I don't know. Sounds interesting. But CIS region, they've just decided that they want to take down a Baron. It's going to be the ultimate out from Archie to deter them from that option. And now with two members on half health, it might be GPL's chance to really make something happen. But both sides, I mean, GPL not necessarily known for turtling. They haven't made too many heads-up decisions in this part of the game.
I mean, they're doing okay right now when it comes to the turtling.
Yeah, well, it's not bad or anything like that, but they can't force anything by the looks. They are going to try, though, as SOFM going to make sure that Smurf does take that Dark Passage to safety.
And you are right, though. The thing is, turtling with a lead pretty much only lets your opponents come back into it.
Yeah.
There's very few times where that is actually beneficial, unless your name's CLG. Even with the lead, they just turtle until 60 minutes and win. Which, you know, with Archie getting stronger and G4 getting stronger, it's fine. They are still biding time. But you're right, they're not expanding the lead that they've got. And that is one of the benefits that we've seen from, you know, champions like Alistair, champions like Tristana, who can continually put pressure onto objectives, but there's too much denial from this Anivia. They're not able to push out very quickly. The CIS team are trying to make fast decisions with the Baron. This time, the GPL's up again.
Another one, yep. 40%
it's
CDR means that it's up a fair bit of the time. That's going to be a Gnarl, but not going to find any stuns. The Wallop goes wide as well. Descents onto SOFM. They're looking to try and find the catch. He may fall down, but that Chaos Storm is gigantic. G4 still not dead. You can see the barrels are an opportunity here for Archie as he's going to get caught up as well. But in goes Optimus, and this is going to be the damage from this Tristana, now able to clean up. G4, in fact, is still alive as Kira is now the last man standing. SOFM didn't even fall down. Have no idea how. But he's going to be right back in there, full health after that Void Rush. And I don't know how they do it in a lot of these team fights, but the GPL have turned it around. Flash Frost, actually, from Kira. Doing a bit of work, stunning up both of the carries, as Moss is doing his very best to try and catch onto him. That is a dead birdie.
Oh,
I think.
well, it may be.
Maybe. Might be a dead bird. I'm not entirely sure. We don't know just yet. Let's see what Kira has available. About nothing.
It's going to be a dead bird, but who does she take with her?
That's a good point.
Moss is
looks pretty
incredibly
dead.
low. SOFM is only on about 500 health, but I want to go back to the actual fight that just happened and talk about why it is that GPL are able to win these fights when it looks like maybe they shouldn't be. Yes, they're ahead on gold, but in these situations, they're picking off Lex every single time.
Yeah.
In the couple of fights that they have won recently, the Dragon fight comes to mind. This fight now, Lex gets picked off so early on in the fight, and he's one of the big damage threats here. Smurf doesn't have that much damage anymore. Kira does have damage, but isn't really able to do all that much very quickly in a fight.
Yeah, it's
has
not
to
about
wait for
burst,
cooldowns.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah, so Lex is such a big proponent of chipping down the GPL team time and time again that if he's dead, there's almost no way of the Starladder team actually getting back into these fights. They are still significantly far behind.
They are struggling a lot as well, and we're having a look at Archie at the moment with an 80 CS advantage now. I mean, it was so even. It was the fact where, you know, Smurf was able to take control of that lane, win the 1v1, but now it's just the scaling of Gangplank, this massive power spike that he's in at the moment now that he's completed that Infinity Edge, has, of course, the Vamp Scepter on top of it. I have a feeling that might be going towards something like the Bloodthirster in order to have a whole lot more AD and then smack people down, but those barrels are just doing so much damage in the fight, and Archie's finding ways to get them off.
Yeah, and you look at the zone control that comes from just everything on the GPL lineup. You've got the Gangplank ultimate coming in, you know, blasting people down. You've got the Victor gravity field as well. You can't step into that. It's just too much control over these areas around the Baron pit that you really can't do anything. And looking at it, 2 upgrades right now for Gangplank, and actually is sat on 560.
Oh man, that's the triple.
Coins. That is going to be the triple. Raise Morale is the last one to be picked up in this game, but as soon as he gets that, it's...
He's not going to be support Gangplank.
No.
It's not about getting all that movement speed. It's all about doing more damage.
all about the deeps, which is
exactly
fine.
right. Well, it makes a lot of sense as Archie's built pure damage right now. He does have the cheeky Ninja Tabi, but he doesn't really want Berserker's Greaves because it's not really going to help him all that much. Not going to be auto-attacking all that often, just wants to be shooting barrels, making sure people get hit. You can see we do have a slight pause, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be getting back onto the Rift as soon as possible. We'll see whether GPL can actually go back to the Baron after this, because now they have very low health. SOFM came back with full health, tried to tank the Baron to take that down, but Kira has done a decent job in deterring that, and we'll see whether that can actually buy the CIS region some time and get back into this game.
Yeah, I actually don't think they're going to be able to deal with this Baron. They're going to have to recall. So Kira has done enough to just hold on in this one, but I kind of want to see exactly how low the Baron health was. It's not particularly low at all when we went into this pause. It actually had just began regenerating health. So Baron is no longer an option for the GPL team. And that means that the CIS team, despite of pretty poor fight, are going to get away with this one, just from Kira being able to hang on in there.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it as well. Kira dying so that the GPL team cannot actually pick up that Baron is a huge deal, especially considering the fact that we don't have death timers that are exactly that high just yet. 35 minutes into the game, of course, they're not going to be too detrimental, and with Lex being up in about 10 seconds means that they will be able to get back towards that pit. So no Baron for the GPL, and we'll see whether they can actually turn this one around. But it is going to be 8,000 gold the lead in favor of the Southeast Asian team. So still looking dire here for CIS, who are looking so good after taking that victory.
The thing about this game, though, is the amount that it's been stalled out just from wave clear alone, from these mid laners and from the gangplank as well. We have had no inner towers die.
Yeah.
At 35 minutes in this game.
The outer ring's dead, though.
Yeah, the outer ring's dead for both teams. I mean, that's they've just traded those, and it's like, okay, you can have that. We'll take yours. It's all good. There's still a lot to be played out in this game.
Yeah, there really is. And this is weird, actually, now that you bring it up, because Southeast Asian side, they have G4. Who wants to be split pushing and killing people. So, look, we'll see whether he's going to do that. But we are going to throw back to the analyst desk to break down what has happened so far in this game.
Thank you very much, Atlas and Stress. It's been a pretty long game so far, so up to you guys for really holding it down there on the casting desk. Just to quickly recap, League Ops have offered the CIS team a remake because there was a bug with Vision in Baron that has considered to significantly impact the game enough to mean that they could, if they want to, accept the remake.
Yes, as we cut away there from the teams on stage, you could see the League Ops standing behind the CIS squad. And as an update, on 523, there was a Vision overhaul, so some of these bugs that actually showed up at the World Championships as well have been resolved. Unfortunately, as we are still on 522 on the tournament realm, every now and again they creep in. So while the team is deciding on that, we're going to talk about this game. But CIS, they came out the gate swinging. Mechanically, they were just outplaying Southeast Asia individually and in the lanes, across the game. But then they just made bad calls, got caught out of position, and allowed Southeast Asia to pick up a lead and get ahead.
Yeah, I think the only exception to that was the top lane with the Gnar, but apart from that, yeah, I completely agree with you. CIS was just outplaying people all over the map, and where Smurf was lacking with the mechanics, he made it with the teleports. 2 great teleports, maybe didn't hit all the skill shots, but he got the job done, picked up the kills.
And this is one of those things about Gangplank that if you put him in a ranged matchup, he's actually quite easy to bully because he has no wave clear unless he's able to get those barrels off. So, credit to Archie. He was able to get some into the brushes and try and swing it early. But once those 4 kills came into Smurf, it was really his lane to lose in the end. And the repetitive dives of visits into the top lane did set Smurf up for some really good plays.
I just love that Archie is actually just playing his 1v1 build, apparently, from what we can tell. He's like, yeah, Gangplank was great in 1v1. Let's get it in there. I mean, there are some changes. Itemization actually was very interesting.
It was bad.
Yeah, and I know you love talking about itemization.
Let's not go interesting. He built the Trinity Force, tick. He built the cooldown reduction boots, okay, where are we going with this? He built the cooldown aspect of either Essence Reaver or Yomu's Ghostblade. I was like, he's just going the old school build. This is Yomu's. This is completely fine. He wants some flat pen. No, it was an Essence Reaver. Even though he had a 45% cooldown reduction mastery, he's sitting on 55% cooldown.
But he realized it, sold the Ionian Boots to the city, picked up Merc Trades. His parlay was down to a 2.75 second cooldown, which he just kept spamming out over and over. And yes, the original direction wasn't great, but he fixed it along the way.
Yeah, he literally got lost. He was following a map, and he was like, I'm sorry I'm 5 minutes late. I got lost. But now I'm at the right point.
I feel like he was too used to following just a set build of Ultimate Bravery, and it's just like, oh, I'm left to my own devices. I don't know what to do now.
The one thing that did stand out for me, we actually got a replay of one of the fights that was leading up. If we can pull this just up onto your screen. And what I really like about this particular play is just how good GPL are after they have actually re-engaged. Roll the clip out, and you'll see at CIS, they want to start the fight. Smurf does not find the stun with the big Gnar against the wall. And of course, as the re-engage comes in, Moss gets a great knock-up. And Optimus, look, I think he's skirting the fight. He does finally sort of man up and rocket jump forward and start to clean up. Maybe could have done that a second or two earlier. But what counts is the fact that he did, and they were going to win a clean fight.
And the one thing you will say, he didn't let them get too far away. He wasn't like hightailing it out of there, even though there was a wall blocking him, so maybe Kira forced his hand. But it's always good to check. You don't want to ever do the raid-in, where you're like, we just got 2 kills. I'm going to jump in. I just got crit 3 times in a row. I'm dead. I lost this a team fight. So credit to Optimus. He was able to get the resets, and that's when they were able to start, I guess, looking like hey, this team comp's going to work. The big headbutt pulverize. If Rek'Sai had gone in, that would have been another huge knock-up as well. And then the Gangplank and Victor damage on top of that is just going to be so obnoxious as the game goes on.
Yeah, I agree. Like, also taking a look at Moss as well, you're talking about how well he was doing in his team fights. Earlier on, he picked up that first blood. Like, he was literally from those Moss roams constantly, and even though the pressure was taken away from him, he was doing the same thing. This is the play that Moss will do. He will go and roam, he hits level 2, he's going to go and find someone to kill.
Yeah, completely agree. And, you know, normally he does it with Lloyd in his bottom lane, and we credit Lloyd for being a great 1v2er. This game in particular, Optimus on Tristana actually skilled the rocket jump nice and early for exactly that reason. He was like, I'm not going to get caught out in this lane. I'm going to play incredibly safe, and I'm going to set SOFM up with Moss so that they can do the things around the map they need to.
Well, Optimus is 4 games in. He knows he's not going to have a support anymore. So he's going to start 1v2ing. This is the best way to learn, like the hyperbolic time chamber. Just get thrown in, get practice without your support. And at least this game, Moss made it count.
I mean, it's funny as well, because I feel like both these teams, especially C, have strayed from their style, especially since losing. It's not nearly as crazy. There's not so much solo queue jungle action coming in from SOFM. Much more traditional, lots more scaling, much more team fighting, which for me just isn't the team's strength potentially.
Yeah, and I was really confused about that, and I was looking at SOFM as well. Like, the jungle pool we heard of is like that Lee Sin that he plays. You know, maybe a little bit of a Lee, get him on Rengar, something like that. A lot more standard this time with Rek'Sai, but he has been able to make it work. The vision control that they've been able to secure because of the blue trinkets that they picked up, as well as that Tremor Sense, has meant that they can play a safe style of game, and their scaling is bonkers.
Yeah, it still felt like he was trying to play Lee Sin, but while playing Rek'Sai. Like, he was still invading the jungle, he was still trying to pick up the buffs, but then realized he's Rek'Sai and wasn't Lee Sin, and then that's kind of where it fell apart for me.
Yeah, as the game progressed, though, I want to mention about those blue trinkets, because I think Southeast Asia took a page out of Eiffel 65's book and started singing I'm Blue. 5 trinkets. You know, as one you were talking...
Yeah, I have a theory. I honestly have a theory, and that is IWC teams don't walk through brushes. And those trinkets last forever when the ward goes in there if you don't actually sweep them out. And there's been so many times in this game alone where someone's just like wandering through their jungle, like they pass a brush and they just don't step in it. And it's like the other team has 5 trinkets, dude. They can see exactly where you are on the map at every single time. And with that information, they've been able to make pretty good calls.
Yeah, I mean, in Ultimate Bravery, it worked very well. And that's exactly what they did in that team of Asia.
You're too addicted to Ultimate Bravery.
I mean, I took so much from it, and apparently these players did too. But no, actually, to develop on that point, like, I feel like because pink wards, you see so many of them now because they're so easy to pick up, 75 gold now, you can go for those blue trinkets, just place down the ward in places where they're not going to be cleared out, and you just use the pink wards to clear out the rest of the vision.
I mean, there's one red trinket between all 10 players at this point in this particular game. It's not too surprising that it's getting very stalemated around Baron, as an example, because no one's really got exclusive vision.
No, definitely not. Baron, so 1 red trinket, 9 blues, and Baron dance. We've gone back in time. It's back to the land of I'm Blue. But I think, you know, this is a difficult situation because we're still waiting to find out whether or not CIS are going to, you know, accept the offer to remake. And it's always tough, but it's already a tough schedule and a long day. So now these guys' mental agility and mental fortitude is also going to be tested. An extended pause, an extended break, the potential of a remake. It's difficult when both of these guys are fighting for tournament lives and the shot at getting to LA.
And the other thing is that, we keep, like, I talked about their scaling a lot, but you look across the other side of the rift, Anivia, Vayne, these are all champions that also perform well in the late game. And they did the hard work. Like, G4 didn't get that much going. Sure, he got 1 solo kill on a very nice turret dive, but Kira stood up reasonably well in lane. He's at the point of the game where Anivia should be supreme in being able to control waves. Even if they do manage to pick up the Baron here, Kira's not going to let anyone into his base in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, just going off the point of talking about CS and kind of their style and how it's developed from day 1 to day 2, this is an entirely different team. Like, honestly, Kira stepped up. He's looked great in the mid lane with the supportive play. Demonko, we saw him in the bottom lane with the outplay of the 1v2 on the turret. Demajke with the Dragon Steel. Like, everyone individually is stepping up their game and developing as a team as well. It's just great to see.
But I feel like, unfortunately, we've actually lost the team elements that made them look so good. Like, yes, there were individual standout plays from Kira especially, I agree, has been a good-looking player. But both these teams, it's just so weird to see them playing, I hate to say it, normal League of Legends. Like, no one's going crazy. And for C, I think it really hurts them, because when they're not playing chaotic, I just feel like they suffer so much, because, like, how are you supposed to get G4 and SOFM in there?
Yeah, and I want to hit on that as well. And I think that this is more of a champion issue for G4, that we're so used to seeing them on Assassins that IWC tournaments always like bring something different out in a play because you can't bring a linear game plan in and expect to win consistent League of Legends. So I'm happy that he's picked up the Victor, but I agree with you that the team overall isn't picking those scrappy little dirty team fights. Like yesterday we had like 30 kills in 20 minutes worth of gameplay in a C game. So it's about whether they can close it out. Because if you're going to put it down to one team fight, which with Gangplank and Victor you generally are, you need to be able to execute on that very well.
The thing I don't like is it's a kind of an awkward synergy. Gangplank top is kind of faded away. It's not great. A little bit more difficult to farm up, etc. Yes, you can do more barrels, but also I don't feel like they fight team fights in the same way. Gangplank ideally wants people to come to him, then react. Yes, you can chain some barrels together. Victor ideally wants to chase forward, put a gravity field to zone out. So the two of them are a little bit at odds with each other. And it just feels a little weird and a little awkward at times, which is why I feel it took like 30-plus minutes for the team composition for Southeast Asia to actually come alive.
Yeah, they need that perfect situation, right, where they've got someone indecisive and Gangplank can put the ultimate behind and then Alistair and Rek'Sai can just dive in. And then it's like, do we go back through this huge magic damage ultimate? If not, all of a sudden, double knockups, Victor comes in, smashes the team comp. But you're right, this is what I'm trying to say. That game plan to execute takes so long into the game. You can't do that until incredibly late. And if you're relying on getting there every single time, it's not going to do good things for you, which is why the early game strategy just looks so much more comfortable for them.
It also means that 5 blue trinkets, if you're waiting for people to come to you, because both Victor and GP especially can set up well, like, how? How are you ever going to trick them into coming into your Gangplank barrels? Just because you have no objective to try and fight over.
Yeah, completely agree. And I really do think that, you know, whilst we're talking about setup and things like that, Anivia just wants to fight people when they're roaming through the jungle. As long as Anivia can catch you out, wall someone off, get that pick, Vayne will be able to tear through structures, tear through neutrals. So the CIS region definitely still have their win conditions they can play to as well. And I honestly think that the longer this game goes, the easier it is for them to actually get things done because there's no big tank on the Southeast Asian region.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think Kira needs to hit a few more stuns with that Anivia. Mechanically, I'm not really in love with the pick right now. But if you step back from the game, you know, and all the mechanics of it, Southeast Asia, they're currently 2-1. They lost a matchup earlier today to the Japanese squad of LJL, and you could argue it was the Tom Kench top. Seem to have fixed that just a little bit. But right now, if Southeast Asia are able to close it again, they're tied for first place with Turkey. So, you know, they're fighting for a top-of-the-table seed. There is a lot on the line.
Yeah, definitely agree. And on the other side of that, this gets CIS out of the last place position with Oceania. So that will leave the home crowd team all by themselves down the bottom of the table and put them into runnings to be able to push for that final spot with a lot of people sitting at that 2-2.
Well, just to let you know, gentlemen, we have actually had a situation occur here. So just to read out exactly what happened, there was a green ward placed by GPL, providing vision of a CIS pink ward and the players, and the pink ward could not see the green ward in that Baron area, which of course disadvantages the players. Their vision may impacted the game. They're offered a remake, which they have accepted. So unfortunately, we're going to be going to a break. We'll be a few minutes, but when we return, we are going to have them play it one more time as CIS will take on C.